Hello, welcome to Dungeon Rolls Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. Today we're reviewing the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. This is the 9th movie in the series, which is like a soft reboot, kind of going along the trend of like the 2018 Halloween films. There's even like a thing where like an old character from the first movies in this movie trying to kill Leatherface, which they call him Leatherface in this movie. This movie is directed by David Blue Garcia. I haven't really seen any of his other movies. The story is by Fede Alvarez, who I think he did the Evil Dead remake, and he did that Don't Breathe films, right? The movie stars Mark Burnham as Leatherface, which is this is like the second Leatherface film Texas Chainsaw Massacre film where you see like Leatherface's face with the mask off, and he's unlike with some of the other movies, he's not like horribly disfigured, right? Mark Burnham you might know from Lowlife, that 2017 film. You got Elsie Fisher as Lila, Olwen Fouere as Sally Hardesty, she's one of the characters from the first movie. Though this actress is from Ireland, she's not the original actress. She was in Mandy with Nicolas Cage. You have Nell Hudson as Ruth, Sarah Yarkin as Melody, Jacob Lattimore as Dante. And like you have this, who was the other guy? He was from Vikings. And also the guy from. They're not showing me the whole cast, even though earlier they were. They had like one of the guy actors from like Heavy Rain is in the movie. The big fat guy, Sam Douglas as Herb. You got Mo Dunford as Richter and Alice Krige as Mrs. Mack, who was the Borg Queen and one of the Star Trek, Next Generation movies, and she was in Stephen King's Sleepwalkers. So I gotta say, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I thought it was going to be terrible. I think we all did. The fact that it was, put out on Netflix, made it seem like, oh man, this movie's going to be trash. And honestly, it was not that bad. Based on the plot, you would have thought it was going to be bad. The plot is influencers looking to breathe new life into a Texas ghost town encounter Leatherface, the legendary killer who wears a mask of human skin, right? Which they even know about Leatherface in the movie, which is so. Even before they go to the ghost town, right, which is supposed to be the town from the original movie, right? So like the story is basically these social media influencers like Instagram or whatever buy a deserted town, and basically they want to gentrify it, bring people around, people in to buy the place, and kind of try to revive this Texas town. And they're like, soft-hearted liberal type, being-heart liberal types. They tell like the redneck like contractor that they hired, who carries a pistol with him and has like a AR-15 or whatever, right? That they're basically gonna make this town into like basically a utopia, and he's like, yeah, you guys are cultists, right? So yeah, some of the characters in the movie, you have one of the characters is like, which in the trailer it made it look like there was like a lesbian couple. They're supposed to be sisters in the movie, right? Which I thought was weird, but whatever, right? And one of them is a school shooting survivor, and she hates guns, right? Which even though she like obviously is attracted to the redneck dude and is like talking to him about the guns and shit, right? So yeah, what happens in the movie, which I was surprised they did that. They Dante, the young black man in the film, and Melody, which is the sister of like the main character in the film. What's her character's name? Lila. They see a Confederate flag hanging off an orphanage, and this pisses off Dante for several reasons, but mostly because the investors are coming on a bus, and you know it's going to be bad for business, right? So they break into this place, this orphanage, right, run by this old lady, which is played by Alice Krige, Mrs. Mack, who's there living with her son, which turns out to be Leatherface without the mask, and you know, she's nice. She offers tea and stuff, and like these assholes break into her house to take down her flag, right? And like, you know, he's like, you know, you don't own this house. The bank foreclosed on it. You need to leave, right? And she's like, oh no, we paid our debt to the bank. We own this house. Oh yeah, show me the deed, right? Before like she can even get the deed, they have the cops show up to try to kick her out, and she has a fucking heart attack. Like Leatherface carries her into like an ambulance. Well, it's the back of like, you know, a van that's driven by these two Texas cops, and she dies, right? And this freaks out Melody, right? And then like the redneck guy Richter sees what happens. He's like, yeah, I'm taking you guys or keys until you can prove to me you own that little lady's house. Which it turns out, spoiler alert, turns out they didn't own the house. They kicked out an old lady out of her own house. They find the deed in her house, right? And like, you know, she dies, and this pisses off Leatherface, and Leatherface goes on a killing spree. And the kills in the movie are the best part of the film, right? I was really surprised they made the young black man in the film the most hated character in the movie. It's like, holy fuck, man. That's not very, like, you know, 2022 there. Holy fuck. That's the thing with the movie, because the movie, you saw the trailer, we all thought it was going to be this pro, like, you know, SJW. And this movie has a fuck millennials vibe to it, which is pretty fucking awesome, actually. And even though I'm technically a millennial, but like, yeah, I thought that shit was cool, right? That was probably the best part, the second best part of the movie, aside from the kills, which there's lots of cool gore, cool kills in the movie. Leatherface breaks a guy's arm, and with the broken bones of his arm, stabs him to death. You see like heads cave in from the hammers. There's a scene inside a bus, which is in the trailer, where Leatherface has his chainsaw, and he just kills everybody on the bus with the chainsaw. Which in the other movies, he only kills like 1 or 2 people with the chainsaw. Here, it's like he kills a shitload of people with the chainsaw, man. It was an actual, like, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It lived up to the title. But the problem with the movie is, besides from the kills, there's no likable characters in the movie, which is done intentionally to, you know, because it's like the old school slashers where they made the teenage characters hateable, really hate them, so you guys can root for the killer to kill everybody, right? So it's kind of has that vibe to it, but because of that, there's not a lot of rewatch value. I didn't really like that. The comedy wasn't that funny to me, honestly. That's the problem. The reason why a lot of the old school Texas Chainsaw Massacre films work, especially 2 and 4, even 3, is because you have other member, Leatherface had other people with him that were kind of like his hype man, that would like hype him up and get him worked up and have him kill the people, right? And they're usually like the funniest part, the best parts of those movies, like Chop Top in 2, Tex in 3, and like Wilmer Slaughter, which was played by Matthew McConaughey. And you always had the line, "Get that bitch Leatherface." Like there's always like a point in the movie, in these Texas Chainsaw movies, where one of the other killers would tell Leatherface to go chase that bitch and kill her, right? You don't have that line in this movie, and it doesn't feel like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre film without that line, right? And also, I thought there was really some... if you're a fan of Jeepers Creepers 2, lots of Jeepers Creepers 2 vibes in here, without the homosexual energy that you had in the homoerotic energy you had in that film, right? Especially the scene on the bus, man, where like like I said, Leatherface goes in and kills everybody. I thought the cinematography was good, but other than that, the movie, like I said, besides from the kills and the awesome ending, I'm not gonna spoil the ending, but the ending is fucking awesome. Yeah, this movie doesn't have a lot of rewatch value, so I'm only giving it, a 5.5 out of 10. If I were to rank this film from the, Texas Chainsaw Massacre films I have seen, I would say it's the, I would say it's either the third or fourth best. To me, probably the fourth, because even like the 2003 one, I thought was better than this, because that had an Army or whatever the fuck, the guy from like all those like Vietnam movies, where he played the sheriff. That guy, despite the fact that he wasn't like a hype man for Leatherface, he was in his own right awesome in that movie. Like I said, that's the problem with this movie. Like, Leatherface kind of needs someone else with him, and the movie felt very fucking cheap, by the way. And the movie, I don't even think this movie was even. They made a mistake in the cast. They said just the other the black woman in the movie was Dante's girlfriend. No, it was the blonde chick. I'm pretty sure they said the blonde chick was his fiance, so they made a mistake there. But yeah, like the movie, I think was shot in like was shot in like the UK or something, because a lot of UK Irish actors in this movie. Like, what the fuck was that about? Right? Though they did have decent Texas accents, except for Olwen Fouere. She was basically doing a Midwest accent. Yeah. Which she's awesome in Mandy. If you haven't seen Mandy, like, she's awesome. At the end of the movie, like Nicolas Cage is about to kill her, and she's like trying to seduce her. It was like, oh lady, what the fuck are you trying to do? That was a fucking awesome scene. Yeah. I think the movie, if you have Netflix, the movie is worth watching at least once. Alright guys, peace.